Hey guys, Lancer here. Welcome back to another reserve list review. Pretty much going to continue off from where I left last time. Not too sure if I've redone some of these cards. The prices keep changing so much that I can't really keep up with the same list as I had before. So I'll just start off with Mist Dragon. So Mist Dragon is also, don't judge me for my 714 cards that are paddy in my cart. That's normal, right? Mist Dragon is a 4 colorless 2 blue dragon with abilities that are kind of strange. It's got 0 to gain flying, 0 to and it loses flying, and it's got 3 colorless and 2 blue to phase out for a 4/4. I'm not too sure exactly what the effect of it losing flying is, but I think it's actually kind of cool that you can do it into speed. And I know that green does have some abilities to take out flying creatures easier than almost any other color, and seems to be able to destroy flying creatures. So there is some advantages to having a card like this, which you can remove the flying at instant speed, while there's a stack to maybe destroy all flying creatures or something like that. But for 6 mana, for a 4/4 flyer, with evasion in the fact, I mean, sorry, not evasion, escape in the fact that it can phase out, this seems like a pretty annoying card to deal with. It doesn't have, as long as you have the mana open, it'll be very annoying to remove those off the field. But I think having that much mana itself is kind of a pain. It's right now $3.23 on TCG, but the best I saw it for, actually you can get a moderately played for $2.50. It's not bad. It might be in like a nice like include in a Dragon's deck, but you're not making it to win. It's not exactly like an amazing card for that. Alright. So yeah, I don't think it's an amazing card for a Dragons deck, especially with how competitive Dragons are nowadays. But I like the fact that it loses flying as a 0 cost instant speed ability to maybe get around. I don't really have that many green decks that target just flying creatures all the time. So it's a weird one because mono green maybe is the only way that you can get around playing a dragon like this. But anyway, I've been on this card for too long. I don't think it's that good, but it's a reserve list card, $2.50 for moderately played. I think you can get one for $10 for lightly played, which is not bad for reserve list cards. Now this card I do have. I have a skeleton ship. I like the -1/-1 counter ability for it, and I like the idea of making a pirate themed commander deck with this as my commander. It's weird because it's a ship, but I like the idea that all my pirates came from this ship, except red. Ah, annoying. So the ship, the creature, is 3 colorless, 1 black, 1 blue for a 0/3 summon legend. If at any time you control no islands, bury skeleton ship. Tap, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. It's going to be hard to get the best benefits of that because there is a god who's red-black that does have an advantage whenever you kill a creature with -1/-1 counters on it. And you can't really add that into this deck, but maybe there's a way around it with another Grixis? Blue, black, and red colors. The card itself is on the reserve list, of course, but you can get one from TCG for $4.20. And I'm not too sure if there's any changes. Okay, so the prices for the average and the peaks are coming down to meet in the middle by the looks of it. So moderately played for $7.49. My card is pretty beat up. You can get some near mints for $11.49, but these prices look like they're kind of dropping down. I remember the near mints selling for a lot more than just the same price as what the average was. So it feels like the spikes for the near mints and all that is starting to come back down. Did I just close that? That's fine. Next card is Chaos Sphere from Mirage, 2 colorless, 1 red. For a enchant world, creatures with flying cannot block creatures without flying. Creatures without flying can block creatures with flying. Oh boy. Yeah, so it flips the idea of what flying does and means that flying is now counterproductive to having on the ground creatures. But I don't know if that actually makes it any better because the problem is in Commander, you're playing this card and hopefully getting a benefit from it, but there's no enter the battlefield ability straight away. It might cause some confusion for that one turn, but it's still an enchantment which can be removed. Hmm. I don't know. Okay, you know what? I don't think this card is too bad as long as your deck is built around it. It's a very annoying card, especially if someone's playing a deck that needs flyers or has a lot of flyers. And it does mess people around, and you could get an instant unblocked bunch of ground creatures running in to deal damage. So creatures with flying cannot block creatures without flying. Creatures without flying can block creatures. Yeah, so it flips the idea that creatures on the ground can do both. Creatures that are flying can't block the creatures on the ground. So yeah, you could go for lethal damage actually. After the turn that you played this, the person that's got flying creatures cannot block the ones on the ground, and you could go for lethal damage. So I actually think that this card might be good in certain kind of deck. $7.99 on TCG. Ring of Gix from Urza's Legacy. 3 colors artifact which has Echo. Pay 1, tap target artifact, creature, or land. This card has gone for a bit of a ride, and it looks like it's starting to slow down now, maybe with all the stimulus checks coming out. People are getting rid of their cards at the peak. It makes sense, but it only depends on what the rest of the world and government decides to do for future stimulus checks. We'll see what happens. The card itself is 6 mana over 2 turns, and an extra 1 more mana to tap down. Once you have this in field, 6 mana costs too much. Isn't that a better one? What's Icy Manipulator? Isn't that a better version of this card? It's pretty much 2 or 3 mana comes into play, and then it's 1 mana to tap, and you can tap almost anything as well. So I feel like there's a better equivalent to this. I can't remember off the top of my head if Icy Manipulator is equivalent to this, but I feel like this is just too much cost for what it's doing. Righteous War from Visions. 1 colorless, 1 white, 1 black. Enchantment. All white creatures you control gain protection from black. All black creatures you control gain protection from white. Okay, this is a good card. Because here's the thing. If you have a white-black commander deck, like what's that girl from Ravnica? The one that you can get like an infinite combination from sacrificing your white creatures or black creatures, and then you can exile all the other creatures on the field. I forgot her name. Trexa? Sorry. So, anyways, I feel like if you have enough creatures that are black and white, giving them protection from black and white is actually perfectly fine. A lot of the commander decks have either one of those colors, and a lot of white removals are the ones that are being used in most decks that have white in them because they're the instantaneous and only cost 1 mana. And black has the second best removal speed cards as well. So this isn't too bad as long as you're putting it in the right deck. And protection from white and black, if you have a white and black creature out, like a combination of both colors in one creature, then this pretty much just gives them protection. It's maybe a bit expensive for what it is, but I actually like it for a reserve list card. Sustaining Spirit from Alliance. 1 colorless, 1 white for a... I can't read that. Creature, Angel Spirit, 0/3. Cumulative upkeep, pay 1 colorless, 1 white. And damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. The cumulative upkeep is going to be hard in white. But if this was in different colors, I mean, sorry, not different colors, but if you were not playing a pure mono white deck, then you might have a better chance to keep this going for the next maybe 3 or 4 turns. You got to remember that in Commander, and I actually played a game with my friends yesterday. It's literally the last 2 turns, and in fact, the infinite combos can only sometimes happen in 1 turn. So if you can do this, you might just ruin someone's last 2 turns where they're waiting for you to be able to not pay for a card like this and then go infinite, but then that itself takes too long and really does get in the way because it doesn't say what kind of damage. It just says your damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. So it doesn't say combat damage. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so commander damage wouldn't count, would it? 21 damage commander, would that stop at 1? Commander damage is pretty annoying actually, but the 40 life, if you're on 1, you won't lose. Infect, you will still lose. So there are ways around it, but if you're going for straight up 40 damage, then this card might mess up someone's plan in the last 2 turns of a game. And sometimes games go for about 10 turns, so if you can just survive for the last 2 turns, that's a big chunk of the game. 20% of the game, you've survived because you had something that just cost 6 mana. So, interesting way to think about it. I don't know if it's that amazing, but I think it's not bad in certain decks. A Grothian Worm from Urza Saga. 3 colorless, 1 green for a 6/6 trample worm. When the worm, I'm going to say the worm. When the worm enters the battlefield, any player may sacrifice a land. If a player does, put the worm on top of its owner's library. I don't think this card is that good because it gives the opponents too much control. I actually feel like it's not even that scary to begin with. It's a creature that's got trample. 4 mana for a 6/6 trample is annoying, but creatures don't always win the game anyways. But the bigger problem is the fact that if someone can control when the creature comes out and then control your top of your library for, you only get 1 turn. So you get 1 turn, 25% of the game is your turn. If someone sacrifices 2 lands, then they can set you back 2 turns where you're not going to be able to draw the next 2 cards. Because the only card you'll be able to draw is this worm. If you're looking for anything else, any answers, you'll just keep drawing this unless you have some kind of draw spell in your hand to bypass it. So I think it's more of an annoyance than actually a good creature in the field. Energy Storm. Ice Age. 1 colorless, 1 white for a enchantment. Cumulative upkeep, 1 colorless. Prevent all damage that will be dealt by instants or sorcery spells. Creatures with flying don't untap during your controller's untap step. Okay, this card is amazing. This card does both. Does it not? It stops it stops instants and sorceries being a kill-all. I guess that should not really a big issue unless it's Storm or like a red deck that really does increase the damage of its instants and sorceries with Torbjorn, I forgot his name, and like the doublers for the damage. So like your lightning bolt all of a sudden does 12 damage or something, and for 1 mana. So that's good. And creatures with flying don't untap during your controller's untap step is amazing. This would be great in like a green-white deck. This would be really good, and it's not even that expensive of an upkeep, depending on how you want to use it. Sorry. Yeah, okay. I actually think this is a good card. You guys can let me know if that is true or not. A lightly played version is $6.72. So, yeah, I don't think it's that bad. Next, Covidius Dragon from Urza's Destiny. 4 colorless, 1 red for a creature dragon flying. When you control no artifact, sacrifice the dragon. 5 mana for a 6/5 flying dragon. In a dragon deck, that would be 4 mana for a 6/5 flyer. 4 mana for a 6/5 flyer that has a issue with artifacts being gone. Artifacts are something pretty useful in a dragon deck when you have 5-color dragons. You got a lot of ramp that comes in the way of the signets. So this is not a bad card. It's once again one of those cards that you'd want to add if you wanted to just bling out your deck, like the blue one that we talked about earlier, where the idea isn't really to win or anything, but it's kind of like to showcase dragons that your friends are probably not going to ever know existed, and just be like, oh, what's this from and what does it do? So I like it for that, and it's not that expensive as a show-off or a collector piece if you get a near mint. But outside of that, I just don't think there's any huge amount of value to a card like this. The near mints are going for about $13 plus, so what do I know? Harbinger of Night from Mirage. 2 colorless, 2 black for a spirit. During your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature. Ah, I was hoping that it said each creature your opponents control or something. Because if that's the case, then this guy can only survive for 3 turns. Because by that third turn, unless you pump him up, he's going to just kill himself. I like this card. I like him in that God Commander deck that I was talking to you guys about before. The one where whenever a creature with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, draw a card. The only problem is that this guy's ability is universal for the entire table, which can cause problems. But outside of that, I actually think it's a good card. You guys can let me know what you think. And thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. See ya.